This is about pay and it's about patient safety. So my salary, I've lost 20% of the value of my salary over the last 10 years. And it's about patient safety. What that means is because the wages have been eroded so much in the NHS, we're now carrying 47,000 vacancies of nurses in England alone. Very simply, we need a pay rise to recruit and retain nurses. We need a pay rise to be able to offer the services that we can't currently.
Now, the ask of 19%, there will be some people listening to this and some people watching this who will say, well, I would love a pay rise of 19%. That's just not realistic when you're trying to negotiate with the government.
Well, I think the government have got to make us an offer. I mean, if you look at what's happened in Scotland, offers were made and offers were accepted and they're being put to membership and strikes have been called off. This government across the road just seem to be deaf to the tune that's being played out here. And these are the people that put their lives on the risk, their lives on the line during the COVID pandemic only a few years ago. I mean, I worked in critical care in both waves of the pandemic. And I just feel like the job that I do and the industry I work in is just disrespected by people that frankly are far richer than any of us on these picket lines and have no idea what it's like to be an ordinary citizen in this country.
As a critical care nurse, can you give perhaps a bit more information as to which procedures will have been cancelled today? Because of course there's been discussions as to urgent care still going ahead, but I mean, what does constitute urgent and something that's not non-urgent? I mean, I imagine that's quite difficult to work out in some cases.
So these decisions are made every day, so we don't have services, a lot of services run at the weekend. We need to rest and recuperate. We don't run all of these services on bank holidays and Christmas days. A lot of these services will be cancelled because they aren't life-threatening. But there's a lot of work going on in there now, including our critical care and our A&E departments that are working normally.
I mean, this is an extraordinary day, really, to have nurses striking for the first time in NHS history. I mean, at the moment it feels quite jubilant, I guess, the atmosphere here on the bridge, but I'm also getting a sense from a lot of the people who are here that they are desperate, and that is something that people have said to me when I've spoken, is they're absolutely exhausted.
Exhausted is a word for it. I mean, a third of nurses in critical care have been diagnosed with PTSD after the pandemic. We are exhausted, we're underpaid, we're undervalued, we're unable to do our job properly. Our ability to deliver core services in the NHS is compromised. There's 7 million people on waiting lists. We're not going to clear them unless we recruit and retain nurses into this industry. And that's on the government's hands. I mean, they've had the reins of power for a long time now, and what they've got is the first nurses' strike in 109 years. It's on them.
How hopeful are you that this could resolve by next week? Because, of course, we've got yet another strike day next Tuesday. I mean, do you think there's any hope that this could resolve itself by then? I mean, obviously there's been progress in Scotland, but could we have things change any time before Tuesday?
I think if Rishi Sunak stops painting us as the enemy within and starts recognises us as the backbone of the country and makes a really decent offer to nurses. And this pay review stuff is nonsense. They tell the pay review body what the limits will be. Make us an offer, and I'm sure the RCM will get around the table and talk to him about it. But they've got to make us an offer, otherwise this is going to grow and grow and grow.